Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Christina and I'm a reseller on the Poshmark app. You can find me on Instagram at little.black.hanger. You can also find me on Poshmark at littleblackhanger without the vowels. Today's video is going to be kind of short and sweet. I had someone request for me to do a video showing you guys my bookkeeping, so basically how I keep up with my sales, my inventory, and my business expenses. So I'm going to show you guys that. I keep it in a notebook just like this that has like 5 subject dividers. I also keep track of my business expenses and my sales on a spreadsheet. So I'll show you that. I'm going to show you the notebook first just so you know what you're looking at, so you're not looking at just a bunch of numbers and you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you ever have a request for a video, I do write it down in my little YouTube notebook here. I am going to start doing requested videos because I want to give you guys the content that you want to see. I want to help you guys with whatever you need help with. So I've been writing down requests, and if you have any, leave them down in the comments below any video. I will see it, and I'll write it down. I am going to go in order of how I receive, I am going to go in order of when I receive them. So if it takes me a couple weeks to get to your video, that's why, but I will make it for you. Also, disclaimer, this is in no way, shape, or form me saying that this is the way that you have to keep track of these things. This is just personally what I do. I always tell you guys to do your research, watch other resellers, see what they do, and then do what works best for you. All right, so I think I've rambled on enough, and let's get into the video.
So let's talk about inventory first. This is how I keep track of my inventory. I write down the item description, what I paid for it, and then the lowest price that I will take. So you guys have probably seen in previous videos that this is my equation for what I like to get out of my items, the profit that I'm wanting to hit. So I just do what I paid times 3, and that gives me the lowest price I'm willing to take. And this, sometimes I've been slacking, as you can tell, but I will write in parentheses what that is on Poshmark. So if I want to make $3, I have to price it at 6 on Poshmark. So that's that. You don't have to do it this way. This is just my personal way of keeping up with inventory. I would suggest definitely writing down the item description and what you paid for it. Otherwise, you're not going to know when it comes time. Like if someone offers you something and you can't remember. I have so much inventory, I can't even remember what I paid for it. So it definitely helps to write those 2 things down. So I definitely would recommend these 2 things. What I do when I get home from the thrift store is I go through my bags, I write down all the items, and one by one, I write down what I paid for them, and then I cut the tag off so that I know. I also go on my receipts and I check off, like I go down my receipt and check off, because my Goodwill does color tags, so sometimes I'm not really sure what I paid for it based on the tag. So I just go down and check off that. Let's move on to sales. So the columns that I have are date, item, what it sold for on Poshmark, hello Georgia, what it sold for on Poshmark, the Poshmark fees, what I paid for it, and then finally my profit. So I'm going to break these down for you. The reason I do by date is so that I can compare it to last month. So if I want to know where I was at on 4/4 last month and see how my sales are doing as like a comparison, I can go back and look. I also number them so that I know how many items sold that month, so I can also compare to last month. And then obviously I write down the item that sold just to keep track of that. What it sold for on Poshmark, this is going to give me my net earnings. So this is before fees, before taking out what I paid for the item. Then I write down my fees, and I have this in red because this is what I'm deducting from this sold price. So minusing the Poshmark fees and then subtracting what I paid for it, also in red because it's being subtracted. Hope this is making sense. And then finally my profit. And that's going to give me my gross income for the month. Obviously it is not the 11th, it is the 17th. So I need to do some catching up. I'm not perfect, you guys. I'm just a girl trying to keep up with life. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I track my business expenses in Google Spreadsheets. I've started doing this in spreadsheets just because it's a lot to write down, and it's just easier for me to do in spreadsheets. So I always start off with the date. So in this case it's 4/4/18. Next I do my starting address. So in this case I started at my house and went to Goodwill. So I would put the address for my house. I'm not gonna give you my real address because, you know, I don't need anyone killing me. And then I would put the mileage it took for me to get from my house to Goodwill in this little in-between column. So let's say 2.9 miles. And then I would put Goodwill's address. I don't know Goodwill's address off the top of my head. So I spelled address wrong. Anyways, okay, so how you would figure out the mileage in between these two addresses is just type them into Google Maps. So you would type in your starting point and your ending point, and it will give you the exact mileage in between these two places. So then I'm going to be putting the mileage from Goodwill back to my house or from Goodwill to another Goodwill. Does that make sense? So you're calculating the mileage in between each destination. So again, I'm going to put my address here, and then I'm going to put the mileage. So 2.9 miles. All right. So then I would put, in this last column, I would put how much I spent, including tax. So let's just say $23.45, and you can change this by highlighting it and clicking the little money sign, and it'll change it to money. What am I talking about? Currency? I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, so that's how I do that. So as you can see, I used to keep track of my inventory in spreadsheets, but it gets to be just like very tedious and a lot. So I actually prefer to keep track of that on paper. But I am going to show you, I do keep track of my sales in spreadsheets as well, just because it has this cool feature where you can like drag and highlight this, and it'll give you the sum in the bottom corner. Sorry, I have this like propped up on the tripod. It'll give you the sum right here. So that's really nice. So I don't have to do that by hand because that is so tedious and irritating. Like on paper, it's numbered already for you, so that's nice. And I just write down the date that it was sold. If I have a bundle, I just write the one date, but I do separate it out. So then I have what it sold for on Poshmark, the Poshmark fee in red, cost of goods right here in red, and then my final profit. So at the end of the month, I will total these up. So down here, I would do all of my totals. So I'd add this column up, this one, this one, this one. You get the point. You know what totals are. This column right here added up gives me my gross income. And then, of course, once these are subtracted from that column, this column is what I get, and this gives me my net income. I also do an average profit per unit. So that would be this whole row right here. I would add it up and then divide it by the number over here. the number of items. So it would be whatever the sum is right here divided by 22, and that gives me my average profit per unit. Why can't I say per? I do an average cost of goods as well. So I will take this column right here and divide it by the number of goods. Last but not least, I write down the number of items that sold so I can compare it to last month. So that's just a little rundown. I think that's everything. So I did forget to tell you guys that for business expenses, what you want to be keeping track of is anything that you're sourcing, any sourcing that you're doing, clothing that you're buying to resell, obviously, shipping expenses like mailers or tape or office supplies like pens and printer paper. Anything that's necessary to run your business is a business expense. So be keeping the receipts, writing it down, and keeping track of it. Also, make sure you're keeping track of your mileage because that is also a business expense. Gas ain't free, y'all.
Alright, so that about wraps it up for today's video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down in the comments below. I will be happy to reply. Also, if you like this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out and gets my videos to be seen by more people. Also, I always do that. I always like say also so much in the end. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel. That also helps me out a super ton. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers within the next couple months. So if you guys haven't already, please be sure and do that. I make new videos every Tuesday and Friday. You're not going to want to miss Friday's video. I said this last Friday or in the last video. It's going to be a good one. So Friday, get ready. Alrighty, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.